Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in here. Thanks for coming in on a Tuesday night to Publicly Buzzed Live. Appreciate it. Tonight we're going to be going over the impending Karen Read murder trial that's coming up. Right now they're doing some jury selection. I think that they've seated 4 jurors today. We're going to be looking at some different articles, some different stuff, a little bit of stuff from Court TV. And yeah, we're going to be trying to look at this as unbiased as possible tonight. So yeah, please hang out. And yeah, coming right at you. Thank you so much. Hit that like, share, subscribe, get in here. Thanks.
Let's rock.
Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in here. Thank you so much for coming in on a Tuesday night. Yeah, hopefully that old Botrix thing will wake the hell up here in a minute and we can get some chats going. But thanks you all so much. Thank you all so much for coming through here. Really appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to be going over some of this Karen Read stuff. I haven't really touched this since the original time I had Turtle Boy on here with Bob Mata, if anyone remembers that. That was an interesting episode that kind of went off the rails. And yeah, tonight we're going to be looking at a little bit more of this. I did a couple of episodes after that one initially, but this case has gone, since then, went off the rails. You basically can't have an opinion one way or the other, or you'll be attacked one way or the other. And I think that's complete bullshit. So what we're going to be doing here is looking at this as unbiased as possible. I know Jay and Bob from Defense Diaries are going to be watching this. I know Allie and Shannon are going to be covering some of this at night after they cover it during the day. So we've got a crew here that's going to be giving you the deets. Going to be getting down and giving you, as Bob would say, the straight dope on this. And again, it's going to be impartial. It's going to be unbiased. We're going to be getting into the details of this and trying to convey it in a way, at least I know I am, and I'm sure these guys are as well, in a way that is not going to be one-sided. And I know that's hard for a lot of folks, but that is the only way to truly do this for a trial, especially of something of this magnitude. So we have someone by the name of John O'Keefe who has lost their life, and right now Karen Read is up for the murder of that. And I'm actually going to start this out here tonight with looking at something no one's actually talking about. I see a lot of different stuff that's misrepresented online, but it appears that John O'Keefe's actual family thinks that Karen Read is guilty. So yeah, we're going to be going into a lot of this stuff. There it is, finally getting in here, baby. Let's go. There's some Botrix coming through. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. Tiff, Brooklyn, Viv, Pokemon, Mandy coming through here. Mandy's doing some backstreet work on this also. She is deep into the Karen Read stuff. I had her helping me out a little bit also. Holly Berry, Donna White, Laura coming through here from Oz. What's up? Morning. I'm on Murder Church. Happy, good night. Thanks. Hope you're having a good night. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for coming in here. I appreciate it. Again, I'm going to do my best. I have this turned on to subscribers mode only. If anybody is lurking and wants to come in here and give your opinion, please do so. We are open to both sides of this. But if you're a dick and you come in trying to be an asshole, you're going to be sent out the door packing pretty quickly. So yeah, thank you all so much for getting in here. Let's first of all start it off with right here. We're getting into the Karen Read trial finally. How long have we been waiting for this? I also got a brewski here tonight. Started early at the restaurant before I got here, but wanted to keep it rolling, keep the mood flowing, if you will. And yeah, let's start out right here. This is from Boston Globe. This is something I hadn't seen before, and I think this is pretty interesting. Mainly because, again, I haven't heard this or seen this at all. I actually seen something coming out yesterday that was being passed around Twitter that was saying that the possibility of John O'Keefe's father would be sitting on Karen Reed's side. And then I've seen a lot of people saying that's complete bullshit. That would never happen. But didn't stop people from saying it. So, yeah, let's go in here real quick and just take a look at this. I'm going to move myself over here, actually. There's John O'Keefe. Again, John O'Keefe is the individual that has lost his life and has kind of been forgotten in this entire thing, sadly. So I'm going to read through here with you guys just for a minute. By any measure, the few months that straddled 2013 and 2014 were a difficult and life-changing stretch for Officer John O'Keefe. His sister, Kristen, died from an aggressive form of brain cancer just months after her diagnosis. 8 days later, his partner and best friend at Boston Police, Pat Rogers, took his own life. Months after that, Kristen's husband, Stephen, died unexpectedly of a heart attack. Jesus. That's a lot of shit that happened out of nowheres on a man, on anybody, on that family. Yeah, lost his sister to brain cancer, and then the husband, not to mention the Boston police officer, but then the husband of the sister passes away. And that could have been just stress, honestly. That's horrible. But it was O'Keefe's response to such dark times that those who knew him say he is a lasting testament to his character. He jumped to become the guardian of his niece Kaylee, then 6, and nephew Patrick, then 3, morphing into a suburban dad practically overnight, helping with homework, driving to and from softball practice. He was a good man, said John Jackson, a close friend of O'Keefe's from college. O'Keefe's life was cut short, prosecutors say, when his girlfriend at the time allegedly ran him over and left him for dead in Canton during a blizzard in 2022 after a night of heavy drinking. This is about 2.5 years ago now. I think so. It's been a while. And this has just been really building steam heavily over the last year. Again, I think we had Turtle Boy and Bob over here on this show in September, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when Turtle Boy really started making the rounds also and getting this out there. You know, whether you are for Turtle Boy or against Turtle Boy, I know that he's a polarizing individual. You know, you have to give him some credit for getting the ball rolling on the case itself, because a lot of people probably wouldn't know about this. And I'm going to be honest with you, whether you think that she's innocent or not, that's really kind of besides the point. I have my own feelings on that as well. And honestly, when you look deep into the details, it does seem like there's a fuckery afoot. And somebody that's from a small town and knows how the police can work in a small town, I can see it's 100% possible. So, you know, you kind of have to put, and there's so many different people, Cough and Daffer, you know, all of these different attorneys, you know, Twitter attorneys, and all these people that come after Turtle Boy because of how aggressive he is on the case. They get lost in that. I've told this to Coffin Daffer personally. We talked privately and I told her this. You are lost in this because your glasses are fixated on one person. It's not even this case. It's not John O'Keefe. It's not Karen Reed. It's the individual pushing this. The court case has attracted national attention, and some fear that the memory of O'Keefe has been lost amid the circus atmosphere that for months has pervaded the Dedham courthouse, where the trial will begin April 16th. Again, jury selection began today for his alleged killer, Karen Reed. Gaggles of protesters. I never read that word, gaggles. You never see that one. Heard it, but gaggles of protesters egged on about social media and blogger-fueled allegations of a cover-up have waved placards that riled against police and prosecution, at times even booing and shouting at O'Keefe's friends, parents, and brother in what loved ones view as a stunning breach of common decency. And of course, you know, the people that are there will tell you that's not happening. Several of O'Keefe's friends and family members told the Globe the spectacle has detraced from the real sham of the case, the loss of a loving uncle, a loyal and generous friend, and a dedicated police officer. Reed has pleaded not guilty to the charges of second-degree murder, motor vehicle homicide by neglect operation, and leaving the scene of an accident causing personal injury and death. She contends she is the innocent victim of a cover-up by Canton police and local prosecutors seeking to pin O'Keefe's death on her and protect the true killer or killers. A charge the Norfolk District Attorney denies. Reed remains free on bail. Privately, O'Keefe's loved ones are convinced Reed is responsible for the death. This is what I thought was interesting. No one planted anything in our heads, said his brother Paul. No one brainwashed us. They say Reed faces consequences to O'Keefe's death would provide some metacorum of justice. Paul O'Keefe hinted there was some friction between his brother and Reed in the weeks leading up to his death. He had considered hanging out with the couple on New Year's Eve, he said, but opted not to because Reed and his brother were bickering. He still kicks himself for not seeing more of John in the weeks preceding his death, he said. That's horrible. That'll just always be in the back of your head. But Brendan Kane, who grew up with O'Keefe on the same street in Braintree, said he and his wife attended a Bruins game with Reed and O'Keefe 3 weeks prior to the death. She put on a good show, he said. We liked her. The case had rocked Canton, a suburb of 24,000 plus residents. It's a small area south of Boston where O'Keefe was living at the time of his death and where his parents now take care of Kaylee and Patrick. Thank God that they're still able to be taken care of in the family and didn't have to go into foster care, honestly. Now, I did read today, and basically every juror that was asked if they've heard about this case in this small area had, right? So that's crazy. The Fuhrer cannot change a cold reality. O'Keefe is dead in a finality that his family and friends still wrestle with. And this is a picture right here. Think of his brother. It says right here, the parents, brother, and sister-in-law of Boston police officer John O'Keefe reacted as Karen Reed was arraigned. This is back February 2022. Paul O'Keefe, who attends every court hearing with his parents, said he still reaches for his phone to text his older brother. Most recently, it was when legendary Alabama football coach Nick Saban retired. Both O'Keefes had grown-up fans of the Crimson Tide, and he wanted to tell John news. I don't think it's fully processed, he said. John O'Keefe said that his brother's catchphrase was, "It's only a movie." It's etched onto John's headstone, and it was his brother's way of trying to take the edge off of craziness that life throws at you, he said. That's interesting, actually. I'm very familiar with that quote. It's only a movie, which was famously made from the movie Last House on the Left, a Wes Craven film from the early 70s. And that's interesting. Several friends held up John O'Keefe's reaction to his sister's death as proof of his priorities. Again, that shows so much, I think, about his character. He was a police officer at the same time. That almost doesn't say a lot, right? You know, there's good police officers, there's bad police officers, but the actual conviction and the man who decided to take care of family, right, of these children when his sister passed away of the brain cancer. That stepping up like that is huge. Like, that's, not everyone does that. Not everyone has family that will do that. O'Keefe was living the life of a bachelor in Dorchester at the time, but moved to Canton and adjusted his work schedule to care for the children, cutting down on extra hours and switching to a more administrative role in the 9-to-5 shift to better support the children, his friend said. He did it so humbly and so matter-of-factly, said his friend Sean Cole, a retired Boston firefighter. There was a steep leaning curve to parenting, but he did it for 8 years, said Paul O'Keefe. He did a pretty bang-up job, I thought. That's a long time, too. It wasn't just overnight, you know. It wasn't for show. He was in this for the long haul. Kane remembers him as undoubtedly one of the most generous dudes I've ever met, who would always buy the first round of drinks when out with a large group of friends. Kane said O'Keefe always excelled at whatever sports kids in the neighborhood played: wiffle ball, street hockey, basketball. Coley, I'm probably butchering that name. Coley said O'Keefe would rib him about being a firefighter, greeting him with, "Here comes the hero," and joking that he could pop into Coley's firehouse to say hi, that is, if Coley wasn't sleeping. Friends described O'Keefe as a Boston sports fan, traveling to other cities to take in away games with the Red Sox, Bruins, and Patriots. He attended opening day in Fenway Park religiously. It is cool to get a lot of this. I've not heard any of this, basically. I'm glad I found this article today. On one such occasion, Coley shared Martin J. Walsh, then mayor of Boston, was involved in a ceremonial first pitch and wore a custom Sox jersey with the local area code 617 emblazoned on the back. Coley made an offhand comment to O'Keefe that a jersey like that should be hanging in J.J. Foley's a South End watering hole. O'Keefe was friends with Walsh's driver, a fellow Boston cop, and connected Coley with him. Coley eventually was able to pitch Walsh on his plans for the jersey, and then Mayer met with him and O'Keefe in his City Hall office, signed and gave him the shirt, and posed for pictures with the two friends. That's awesome. Things like that tended to happen when you were hanging out with O'Keefe, said Coley, who had the shirt framed and gave it to the bar where he now hangs. We always had a lot of laughs. Coley, a former Marine, got choked up multiple times over his course of 45 minutes interview when talking about his friend. He now lives in Florida, but is staying in a Massachusetts hotel for the duration of the case. Wow. O'Keefe always wanted to be a police officer. His friends and family agreed. He liked order and rules. During a Super Bowl party at their parents' house, while O'Keefe was in the bathroom, his sister changed the clock on the microwave to see how long it would take him to notice, Jackson recalled. When he emerged from the bathroom, he didn't even break stride, walking immediately over to the appliance to make sure it read the right time. Jackson said that whenever a group of O'Keefe's friends would go out, it was typically, the most responsible and would make note of things where the exits were years before he became a police officer. He was made to be a cop, Jackson said. Their grandfather was a Boston police officer, and John had always looked up to him. O'Keefe was an exonerated police officer in Duxbury and Falmouth before joining the Boston Police Department at the age of 29. He was assigned to stations in Hyde Park downtown or Dorchester and always worked on the sex offender unit during his 15-plus years working for the department. A fellow police officer and friend used to tease O'Keefe that he was the sort of cop who looked like a cop even when he was off duty and out of uniform. You have your friends who are goofballs, who are good for a laugh. You have your friends who are super serious. John was the perfect mix of both. The friend who did not want his name published, and I can understand why, as he's not cleared to speak to the media, said during a recent phone call. Jackson, who commuted with O'Keefe to Northeastern University for the South Shore for 4 years during the 1990s and named him godfather for his eldest daughter. Huge responsibility there. Everything we're reading here, stand-up individual. Said one of the best testaments to O'Keefe's character is that multiple ex-girlfriends had shown up to the courthouse to support his family. That shows not only did he not burn a bridge, but maintain friendships. And that's crazy. Anybody that's been in a relationship, it's hard to get out of a relationship and keep a friendship, quite honestly. His brother Paul, speaking in a cafe in Braintree recently, just down the road from where his brother is buried, shared multiple anecdotes of his sibling. John driving his friend to cancer treatments, John taking in a Red Sox game when a man he had arrested months earlier came over to him to say hello. Well, a testament to how he did his job, Paul said. John staying by his sister's side when she was hospitalized with cancer. John grabbing checks for family dinner. Paul O'Keefe noted that many people say they would do anything for anyone, but far fewer people have a chance to prove that. Johnny proved it, he said. If he loved you, he took care of you. Wow, that's pretty fucking powerful, actually. That almost got me there at the end, actually. Yeah, so as you can see, man, he's a loved guy. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the first time I've actually gotten some different perspective on John O'Keefe, quite frankly, which I think is pretty freaking interesting. One other thing that we're going to go in here to real quick, thought this would be cool to open up with. I know that Julie Grant from Court TV opened up her show, and I believe this is today, kind of talking about John O'Keefe also as well, and she's trying to put a little bit of humanity into this as well. And that's really what I'm trying to do here tonight. We're going to go into some more stuff. We're going to be looking at the key players. I've got them listed out here. I've got a Court TV. And again, take this how you want. Take it with a grain of salt. You know, Court TV, as I was talking to Dizzy earlier, you know, they're wrong all the time. Like sometimes it seems like they're going for the YouTube clickbait shit in a lot of ways. So, but I will say I like Julie Grant, and there's sometimes, you know, oftentimes Court TV does a good job, but still. Let's see exactly. I did watch this previously. I kind of like what she had to say here, and this is just cool.
As we get all ready to finally hear all of the evidence that prosecutors have against the woman that they say hit the officer with her SUV and killed him. Officer John O'Keefe was 46 years old when his life was cut tragically short. He devoted his life to helping other people. He was a hero. For 16 years, he put his life on the line for other people as a member of the Boston Police Department. But for him, helping wasn't just confined to his career. It was what he did in his personal life, too. After his sister and his brother-in-law both tragically died, he took in his niece and his nephew and raised them like they were his own. Imagine how much pain those children are feeling today. First losing their mom and their dad, and next losing their Uncle John turned dad. It is beyond heartbreaking. Officer John O'Keefe's parents had to bury their hero son. Imagine how they're feeling. John's brother now has lost 2 of his siblings.
So who was passing this around yesterday that John's father is going to be on Karen Reed's side? Because that's obviously fucking bullshit.
Imagine how he feels. And my friends, you want to hear something despicable? Some protesters supporting the defendant and her "I'm the victim" defense have been extremely verbally abusive to the O'Keefe family. How disgusting is that? The real victims here have had to endure brutal verbal assaults when they come to the courthouse to get justice for their murdered son. That makes me sick and makes my blood boil. Believe whatever conspiracy theory you want. Talk about it until the cows come home, but don't come at a homicide victim's family. That is disgraceful, and it's a new low that I've never seen before in a case until now. John O'Keefe's family obviously supports the prosecution of the defendant, and that is their right, that is their decision, nobody else's. And I certainly hope that the next thing the O'Keefes hear are apologies from the people who've been so hateful and so disrespectful to them. Justice for John O'Keefe is coming. He is what this trial is about. He is the victim.
Fucked up. There's a lot of fucked up shit here.
Let's not forget it. That's my opening statement on this Tuesday morning. Let me know if you like it, my friends, right now.
I like that. I like the way she fucking went into that. I like that she was like, listen, there's a lot of bullshit going on here, and I think there needs to be more people calling out some bullshit. We're going to go into the key players here a little bit. Thanks for everyone for hanging out. I appreciate it. Again, once this gets rolling, it's going to be absolute chaos all over the place. But yeah, like I said, Jay and Bob, Shamia Jay, Shannon, Mindful Crime, Couture, The Defense Diaries, Bob and Ali Mata are going to be covering this, and it's going to be fucking awesome. It's going to be good as shit. So, and hopefully, I can get on here in some of the evenings and do a little bit of coverage as well. Yeah, let's get in here. Key players in the Karen Reed murder case. I'm going to go ahead and start down here. We're going to start out with John O'Keefe, the victim himself. John O'Keefe's friends and relatives described the 46-year-old victim as a loving uncle, a loyal and generous friend, and a dedicated police officer. The Boston Globe reported they expressed fear that the tragedy of his death has been forgotten amid the circus atmosphere of the trial. Born and raised in Braintree, O'Keefe earned a master's degree in criminal justice from the University of Massachusetts. He was an exonerary police officer in Duxbury and Falmouth. I saw the chat getting after me over these names that I'm fucking up, guys. Bear with me. Before joining the Boston Police Department at 29, according to the Globe, he was assigned to stations in Hyde Park, downtown, and Dorchester, and worked on the sex offenders. We just heard that. O'Keefe reportedly switched to an administrative role again once he had to take legal guardianship of his niece and nephew, his sister's kids. O'Keefe and Reed had been dating for 2 years when O'Keefe died. The couple didn't live together, but Reed spent most nights at O'Keefe's Canton home where he lived with the niece and nephew. The teens provided first-hand accounts to investigators of the couple's allegedly deteriorating relationship. There's lots of that in here. In the weeks prior to his death, Karen Reed, defendant, before she became a murder suspect, Karen Reed worked in finance and at one point served as an adjunct financer and instructor at Bentley University in Waltham, Massachusetts. Reed told ABC's Nightline she and O'Keefe dated in their 20s and reconnected on Facebook more than a decade later. She became part of O'Keefe's family, helping care for O'Keefe's niece and nephew. Over time, Reed said O'Keefe became critical of her childcare decisions, straining the relationship. She wanted them all to herself, maybe there, possibly. A little bit of jealousy going on. Reed and O'Keefe joined the Alberts, the McCabe's, and their friends at the Waterfall Bar and Grill in downtown Canton on the night of January 28th, 2022. A witness at the bar said Reed complained about O'Keefe's mother and the lack of private time the couple had for vacations, partly because of O'Keefe's children. Reed told investigators that she left O'Keefe's at the Albert residence after fighting with him in her car over childcare. She drove back to O'Keefe's home and woke the next morning in a panic when she wasn't there. Reed used O'Keefe's niece's phone to call Jennifer McCabe and Carrie Roberts. The two women drove with her to the Albert residence at 34 Fairview Road, where they came upon O'Keefe's bruised and frozen body on the lawn. Brian Albert, owner of the Canton home where O'Keefe's body was found outside. Boston police officer and longtime Canton resident Brian Albert said O'Keefe never entered his Fairview home on the night in question. Albert and his wife, Nicole, met family and friends at the Waterfall Bar and Grill in downtown Canton on the night of January 28, 2022. The Alberts invited everyone to their house when the bar closed around midnight. The Alberts said they did not know Reed and had only met O'Keefe a handful of times before, but they were welcome all the same. The Alberts said they learned of O'Keefe's death the next morning from Jennifer McCabe, Nicole Albert's sister. Reed's defense claims early morning phone calls between Brian Albert and his friend Brian Higgins suggest something was amiss long before O'Keefe's body was found. Through his lawyer, Albert has denied he was involved in O'Keefe's death or a plot to frame Reed. Nicole Albert, wife of Brian Albert. Nicole Albert said she arrived at the Waterfall Bar and Grill around 7:30 for dinner with family. Her husband Brian arrived around 10 p.m. Albert said she had never met Reed before the night in question and only knew O'Keefe as the uncle of her niece's friend. Albert said she did not know that her sister Jennifer McCabe invited Reed and O'Keefe to her house, and they never showed up. Everyone left the Albert home around 1 a.m. Albert said, we know that's bullshit. Albert said she learned of O'Keefe's death the next morning when her sister came into her bedroom and informed her and her husband. The defense claims cell phone data suggests McCabe called her sister within minutes of discovering O'Keefe's body and calling 911. A lot of that stuff is going to get so fucking interesting during the trial. Kevin Albert, brother of Brian Albert, Canton police officer. The way this mixes up is crazy, all right? It's like so many people in this story conflict each other, and they want you to believe that no, that's not what's happening here. That's from the prosecutor's side. You can find it for yourself through Facebook and online. It's not that fucking hard. It's like everything, both fucking sides of this will choose a lie, and then they'll sink their fucking teeth into it, and then they won't let go. They won't let go of it. They will just chew it and spit it in everyone's fucking faces, and can't have a logical conversation. Both sides, okay? You have to go into this impartial. You have to. That's the way trials fucking work. Kelvin Albert, brother of Brian Albert, Canton police officer, one of Brian Albert's 6 siblings. According to Reed's defense, he tried to act as an intermediary for his brother and his brother's friend Brian Higgins. After federal grand jury subpoenas went out, Kevin called Higgins after Higgins stopped returning Brian's calls and texts. There's only one way to interpret that. Brian Albert was concerned Brian Higgins had flipped on him. That's interesting. And that's from Reed's lawyer, David Yannetti, said at the hearing. There's tons of shit like that that's so fucking interesting, man. I can't wait to see a lot of some of these police officers, the defense list that came out today. A lot of these people, once the the defense team starts to be able to do a cross-examination of some of these people, what the fuck's going to happen here? Kevin Albert's lawyer described him as a respected 19.5-year-old veteran of the Canton Police Department. Any insinuation that he participated in a conspiracy is untrue. Jennifer McCabe, sister-in-law of Brian Albert Wright, wife of Matthew McCabe. Jennifer McCabe said she knew John O'Keefe through her daughter, who was a friend of O'Keefe's niece. McCabe came to know Reed through O'Keefe. McCabe and her husband Matthew said they arrived at the Waterfall Bar and Grill around 9 after attending a high school basketball game. McCabe's were among those who went from the bar to the after party. Jennifer McCabe invited O'Keefe and Reed to the after party, texting O'Keefe the address and where to park. McCabe and her husband said they saw Reed's car arrive at the Albert residence and then leave. She said she did not see Reed or O'Keefe exit the car or enter the house. There's so many little details in here that are super fucking interesting. McCabe said she and her husband left the residence around 1:30 a.m. Earlier, Didn't everybody leave by 1? Everyone left the Alberts home by 1 a.m. The wife, lady that lives there. McCabe said her and her husband left the residence about 1:30 a.m. and gave rides home to 2 friends of Brian Albert Jr. Reed's defense claims an analysis of McCabe's cell phone suggests she left closer to 1:47 a.m. and passed O'Keefe's home on her way home around 4:53 a.m. Reed called McCabe from O'Keefe's niece's phone looking for O'Keefe. Reed and McCabe drove with Reed's friend Carrie Roberts to the Albert home. They arrived around 6 a.m. to find O'Keefe's body in the snow. After discovering the body, McCabe said she and Reed prayed Our Father together inside Reed's car. McCabe said Reed asked her to Google something to the effect of, "How long do you have to be left outside to die from hypothermia?" Reed's defense, however, claims McCabe this is what's triggered the whole thing. This is what got me on it the first time Bob Maya ever mentioned this on a live stream before we even got Turtle Boy on here. Reed's defense, however, claims McCabe's cell phone data suggests the search occurred at 2:27 a.m. Reed's defense claims McCabe tried to delete the Google search with calls and texts with Brian Albert that may point to a cover-up. The timing of the Google search is a key point of contention in the case. The Commonwealth claims Reed's cell phone expert misinterpreted the data. Chris Albert, brother of Brian Albert, husband of Julie Albert, father of Colin Albert. One of Brian Albert's 6 siblings, Chris Albert and wife Julie Albert, have made conflicting statements about whether they attended the after party. Conflicting statements in this is going to get super interesting also. Reed's defense claims Chris and Julie Albert were part of a meeting at the Fairview Road residence where the cover-up began the morning O'Keefe's body was found. Reed's defense portrays Chris as a direct link to lead investigator Michael Proctor's family. Chris and his wife Julie were at the Waterfall Bar and Grill. He told investigators that they followed Brian Albert to his home, but it's not clear if they went inside. He told a grand jury they went home without attending the after party. Reed's defense says Facebook photos depicting the Alberts and relatives of Proctor are evidence of close personal ties between Proctor and Alberts. And this right here is something, whether you like him or not, got to give some credit to Turtle Boy, because a lot of credit in some of this stuff that he's dug up with pictures like this that have come from Facebook that probably we wouldn't be talking about this if that wouldn't have been dug up. I mean, you just have to, that's insanity, some of the stuff that, and then when you watch some of the pre-trial hearings and you see the prosecutor basically lying right there, like we've seen it. We fucking know. But they're going to be telling that to a jury who is supposed to be unknowing of all of this. That's wild shit, man. That they're willing to lie and we can see the lies. That's why everyone's like, what the fuck? That's why when people are on the complete opposite side, they're like, oh no, you're all just being persuaded by the Turtle Boy shit and you're just too deep in the No, I don't understand how you can see it clearly like that on either side, quite frankly, but especially that side, honestly. There's way too much fucky bullshit going on. Reed's defense says Facebook photos depicting the Alberts and relatives of Proctor are evidence of close personal ties between Proctor and the Alberts. Defense filings include images described as photos from Proctor's sister's Facebook profile. One dated July 15, 2016 shows Chris Albert and his son Colin with a group of adults and children identified as Proctor's mother and his sister. Prosecutors say the couple have suffered threats and harassment because of the defense claims. Chris Albert owns a pizza shop that has been targeted of demonstrations and bogus orders. I bet that's absolutely insane, the bogus orders, to be clear. Julie Albert, sister-in-law of Brian Albert, wife of Chris Albert, mother of Colin Albert. Reed's defense portrays Julie Albert as a key link between the Alberts and the family of lead investigator Michael Proctor. Julie attended the wedding of Proctor's sister and has cared for her children. Like her husband, Julie was at the Waterfall Bar and Grill on January 28, 2022. She said she followed her brother-in-law to his home, but it's not clear whether she entered the house. She later told a grand jury she went home from the bar and did not attend the after party. Julie told the grand jury she first learned of O'Keefe's death when she went to the Albert home the next morning to drop off a birthday cake for the nephew Brian Albert Jr. She told investigators she learned about his death after missing a call at 5 a.m. from Jennifer McCabe. In a pretrial hearing, Reed's lawyer Alan Jackson said federal investigators learned that 2 days after O'Keefe's death, Trooper Proctor's sister sent him a text concerning Julie Albert. Julie just saw Julie And Julie said when all this is over, she wants to give you, Michael Proctor, a thank you gift. Weird shit like that is in here as well. Jackson said, summarizing the purported text, in another purported text with family members 10 days before O'Keefe's death, Jackson said Trooper Proctor discussed the specifics of having Julie babysit his toddler child. Prosecutor Adam Lally acknowledged the relationship between Proctor's sister and Julie Albert and offered an explanation. Julie Albert has provided childcare in a pinch on several occasions to Trooper Proctor's sister. See, now that right there, if you're actually looking at this and you're not going to be one of the jurors, is crazy to read. Because we can go and look at some of these people's Facebook posts, some of their social media posts, and see that it's a little bit closer than just babysitting for someone. They're at social gatherings, they're at special events, graduations, weddings, birthday parties. Prosecutors say Julie has also endured the threats and harassment because of defense's claims. Brian Higgins, close friend of Brian Albert with a romantic connection to Reed. Higgins is an agent with Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms who has an office in the Canton Police Department. Higgins was at the Waterfall Bar in the Albert home for the after party and in the Albert home for the after party on the night in question. 2 weeks before O'Keefe's death, Higgins said Reed unexpectedly kissed him on the lips while Higgins was at O'Keefe's house to watch a football game. Higgins and Reed began exchanging texts expressing a mutual liking for each other, with Reed inviting Higgins over to her house at least once. It's not clear if Higgins interacted with Reed when the two were both at the Waterfall Bar and Grill. Reed's defense said Higgins initially told investigators he did not speak to anyone the morning after he left the party, but the federal probe of the Reed case suggested otherwise. Brian Albert called Higgins around 2 a.m. and Higgins called back, but the two did not speak. Both men said they were... Now, this is interesting. All right, we're going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here and just say that these two are basically corresponding in real time. The deed is done. How would you fucking do that and you don't want it to be suspicious if no one's looking? And now that people are looking. Brian Albert called Higgins around 2 a.m. and Higgins called him back, but the two did not speak. Both men said the calls were butt dials. Think about that. Think about that for a second. You get a butt dial and then you immediately butt dial someone back. What are the fucking odds of that even being possible? That they placed from the respective beds. Those calls to me sound like it's done. Cool. Without saying a fucking thing. All right. Allegedly. I don't know shit. But I am going to say that that's fucking wild. And again, playing some devil's advocate here. Higgins also said he ignored a call from former Canton Police Chief Kenneth Berkowitz that morning and later found out about O'Keefe's death from Albert. Julie Nagel, friend of Brian Albert Jr. Julie Nagel was at the Albert residence for Brian Albert Jr.'s birthday party. Nagel called her brother to request a ride home, then decided to stay longer. When she went outside to tell her brother she would find another way home, she said she saw Reed's car but did not hear any screaming or see anyone exit the car. Nagel said she left the McCabe's about 1:30, again, past 1. Ryan Nagel, brother of Julie. Ryan said his sister called him on the night in question asking for a ride home from the Albert residence. A friend drove Nagel to Fairview Road, and they pulled up in front of the house at the same time as a mid-size black SUV resembling Reed's. He declined his sister's invitation to join the party and left. As he drove away, Nagel said he looked inside the SUV and saw a white woman alone in the driver's seat. To me, indicating that somebody had already left the vehicle and went inside at that point in time. Again, I don't know. Nagel also told police he didn't hear or see activity suggesting people are arguing inside the SUV. You got a little graphic of people inside the house. Michael Proctor, lead investigator, Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor, and his partner arrived at the Alberts' home the morning of January 29, 2022, a few hours after Canton police. They took over the investigation because homicide cases are typically the jurisdiction of state police. Because of the conflict of interest between Brian Albert and his brother, a Canton police detective, Reed's defense says conflicts of interest existed among Proctor, the McCabe's, and the Alberts because of close personal relationships among the three families, a conflict that created a debilitating bias, which I do agree with, and you can totally see that, against Reed in the investigation. The Commonwealth calls the relationships tenuous at best, saying Proctor is a few people removed from any direct contact to Brian Albert or the McCabe's. Reed's defense points to Facebook photos to support their conflict of interest claims. One photo is described as showing Chris Albert and Chris's son Colin Albert with Proctor's sister and mother at a social gathering with other children and adults. That's what this is depicting right here. This photo provided in the court documents obtained. A court TV shows Trooper Michael Proctor at his sister's wedding. Also pictured is Colin Albert, nephew of home owner Brian Albert. Another photo at the wedding purportedly shows young Colin Albert and Proctor in a photo with Proctor's sister, the bride. A Proctor family lawyer laid out the degrees of separation in the wedding photo. Brian Albert's sister-in-law, Julie Albert, Chris's wife, was friendly with Proctor's sister, and Proctor's sister invited Julie and her young son to the wedding. Elizabeth Proctor, wife of Michael. Reed's defense tried unsuccessfully to obtain cell phone records from Trooper Michael Proctor's wife, Elizabeth, after Reed supporters posted photos on social media showing Jennifer McCabe's car outside the Proctor home in September 2023. You think they'd not be doing shit like that, quite honestly. That's wild. That's around the time that we really started getting into this. Like, the Commonwealth said the women met over the threats and harassment they had endured because of their connection to the case. Prosecutors also said Trooper Proctor was not home when the women met. Colin Albert, nephew of Brian Albert, son of Chris and Julie. Colin Albert was 17 when O'Keefe died. According to the Commonwealth, Colin left his uncle's home shortly before the group arrived from the bar. Lots of craziness online about this one. Albert was at the house celebrating his cousin Brian Albert Jr.'s birthday. A defense motion claims he left the house around 12:30 a.m. In addition to a July 2016 Facebook photo, the defense points to another photo dated May 16, 2012, of a wedding party as evidence of a relationship between the Proctors and the Alberts. The photo allegedly shows Proctor's sister as a bride, Proctor himself, and Colin Albert as a young boy. A Proctor family lawyer laid out the connections in the wedding photo. Colin's aunt, Julie Albert's sister, was friendly with Proctor's sister, and Proctor's sister invited Julie and Colin to her wedding. Prosecutors said Colin had become the target of online harassment and threats after a blogger accused him of being involved in O'Keefe's death. And there's lots of stuff online that kind of goes back that there was some kind of feud boiling between John and this kid. Kenneth Berkowitz, former Canton police chief who resigned in 2022, interesting, called Brian Higgins after O'Keefe's body was found. 1 week after the incident, while driving past the Albert home, investigators said he allegedly found a piece of red plastic consistent with the Reed's tail light. And then we get down here to Aidan Kearney, Turtle Boy, blogger and Reed supporter accused of intimidating witnesses. Kearney runs a website and social media accounts under the name Turtle Boy, where he has published hundreds of texts and videos posts promoting Reed's conspiracy and cover-up claims. He organized a rally in 2023, which he led dozens of chanting demonstrators to the homes of people involved in the case. He posted videos of himself leaving, disparaging voicemails on the cell phones of people involved in the case. Prosecutors charged him with multiple counts of witness intimidation, some of which were dropped. Others remain active. Wow. So yeah, you wouldn't know about the case if it wasn't for Turtle Boy, but Turtle Boy is so deep inside of the case, it's honestly hard to it's hard to not be, if you're just following Turtle Boy's coverage, then it's hard to be unbiased, quite frankly. So you need to mix in everybody, quite frankly. I like to have a little bit of both sides, quite frankly. That's the way to do it. And then you meet in the middle, and then you find somebody online that can give you straight facts without jumping into a lot of one side or the other bullshit. So, yeah, thanks everyone again for hanging out. I got a couple more things I want to show here real quick. I can see that the chat is broken. I think YouTube might even be broken, weirdly. It shows that my viewers are 0, but I don't think that that's actually true. YouTube might have went crazy. YouTube's taking us down, baby. It's going down. Oh, God in heaven. They've done it. They're like, no more of this Karen Reed shit. The conspiracies are out of control. They're completely out of control. I don't know what's going on. Everything's insane. It is. I can see it, actually. I'm outside. I see. It shows I have one viewer. Well, there's lots of people in here. And then Shelly thinks I'm blocking her. What is going on in here? This is getting crazy. Oh, always freedom of speech in here, Brooklyn. What's going on, though? YouTube actually is broken. I'm actually going to go over to the side here just to see what it looks like on my page, because I'm on like the studio part here, but let's see. Let's see what it's showing live. 2 watching. That's not right either, I bet. Huh. What the fuck? Now it's showing 0 again. What the hell? Well, all right. We're going to keep rolling here either way, baby. That's right. Hanging and banging, humping and jumping. That's what we do here. You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
I did want to show this right here. A little video from the jury selection earlier today. This is from Court TV earlier also. And then I got one more video I want to show you guys here. Again, thanks everyone for hanging out. I appreciate it. Thanks for being respectful in the chat there. And yeah.
DeCastro, Mass State Police, Trooper Justin High, Mass State Police, Captain Eric Benson, Mass State Police. I think I may have missed a police officer or two that I will get to before the end of the list. Heather Maxon from Plainville, Mass. Anthony Flamati from the Canton Fire Department. Dr. Irene Scordobello, the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. Dr. Renee Stonebridge, also from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner.
I think what is she doing here? Hold on. Jury selection is underway for Karen Reed in the killer or cover-up murder trial. Reed is accused of killing Boston, blah, blah, blah. Her defense is yet to name anyone. So I'm not exactly sure what. She's just reading the potential juror.
All right, that is the judge who is presiding over the case.
Not jurors, but
Matthew Kelly.
Witnesses.
The death of Officer John O'Keefe in Boston, Massachusetts. The defendant is a woman named Karen Reed, who was dating Officer O'Keefe at the time of his tragic death. What we just heard the judge doing is reading off the list of witness names.
Who loves Julie? Am I right? She fucking rules, dude. I really love her passion in these things.
Ooh, the pool of
also
prospective
doesn't
jurors.
seem like she
So they
gives a
are in
shit
the
either,
courtroom.
man.
We
I
obviously
like
can't
her.
show them. We're limited on what we can film during this jury selection process that begins today for this homicide case. And the judge was rattling off those names. Why? Because in a couple seconds, the jurors are going to be asked if any of them know any of those witnesses. That could potentially be a ground for exclusion, depending on what the circumstances are. So then the judge will ask the jurors to raise their hands and see who may know someone. She just...
Like, I think that there's shit going on, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you have to be unbiased and we want to see what's happening, but, dude, like, there's so much craziness in this.
Read off on the list. So, that being said,
but
the
we
judge
have to get to the trial and get to the evidence and see what is actually presented. We have to.
Some big important preliminary matters this morning.
Something crazy could happen in that trial, man.
Rulings on some outstanding issues. We know Friday was the last pretrial hearing before the start of jury selection today. And we know that one of the biggest issues raised on Friday was the issue of the third-party culprit defense, meaning someone else did this. Well, that's what this defense team has been preaching all along, right? On the courthouse stairs, anywhere where someone will listen, saying it's not Karen Reed, she's being framed. It's a she's the victim defense is what they're putting forward, that it's someone else who carried this out. And so on Friday, what was stunning, absolutely stunning, was when the judge said to her.
And to that point, I mean, dude, it's easy to be biased in a lot of these cases. It's so easy to get caught up in a lot of this. And I could see if you're as close as this case as a lot of people seem to be, I could see that happening. I could 100% see that happening. But if you're going to play the part of a journalist, like I am, if you want to be in this and you want to do it as in I'm showing you what's going to be happening in this trial, you have to stay unbiased. You give your actual thoughts. You give your opinions. But that's what they are. They're opinions. All right? They're not facts yet. No one actually knows. Like, it's hard. I'm a very stubborn person. Like, it's hard. I get it.
Defense team, you're going to be presenting this defense. Okay, so who is it that did it? And there was no answer. Take a look.
Mr. Yannetti, are you pursuing a third-party culprit defense?
We are, Your Honor, and I'm prepared to address that. The Commonwealth has raised the issue, and I am prepared to address that today.
So you filed your motions first, and you did not raise it. So if the Commonwealth had not raised it, you did not move to introduce it, correct? I have no motion from.
No, I
from
understand.
You about it.
I understand, Your Honor.
I have seen the judge. I mean, at least that I've watched, the judge is very combative with these attorneys, right? Like, that's just the facts. And, you know, you'll see different cases across the country where judges will be more combative or will, you know, hold that gavel like an iron fucking fist, right? And they're like, listen, which I get, you're the judge. That's the ultimate, but there should be some decorum and some kind of respect. And I think that's out the window between the defense team and not only this fucking area, but the judge in particular.
If you'd like something in writing for us, we can do that. I have a full argument prepared.
All right, so who is the third-party culprit?
We are under no obligation to name any specific third-party culprit.
Why not? All you've said is you want the attention on the people who really did this, and then you get your chance given to you by the judge, and you don't take it? What's that all about?
DeCastro.
And then I want to show down here just for a second. This is as they're, again, trying to actually find, and here's two Twitter, I think I still have them up here. I know that Mandy had sent me some stuff. And I see her saying, chat is fucked up. Oh, one other thing. Yeah, she had sent me some stuff about some experts here too. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. Scott K. Klein. Mr. Klein is a senior. Can I get that a little bigger? Mr. Klein is a senior accident reconstructionist who specializes in the investigation of all types of motor vehicle and criminal collisions, including but not limited to commercial vehicle accident reconstruction, imaging of event data recorders, in the commercial and passenger vehicles, automotive fraud, and determination of liability. Mr. Klein is certified by the Society of Automotive Engineers to access and interpret heavy vehicle event data recorders in commercial vehicles, and is also certified as a Bosch crash data retrieval technician. In addition, he's a specialist in requiring and analyzing data from vehicle infotainment and telematics systems, which is the latest technology for investigating fraudulent vehicle activity and in documenting evidence via 3D laser scanning. So this guy is going to be a reconstructionist, letting us know what the hell's going on. And then also here we've got Andrew Rinchler, is a senior biochemist specializing in the study of the forces and mechanics associated with injuries of the human body. He has conducted studies to evaluate the kinematics and biomechanics of human body during various events and circumstances, and has participated in the development of testing and seating and restraint systems with both anthropomorphic test devices and human subjects. So he's going to be, I'd imagine, talking about the possibility of the actual accident and the automobile hitting John O'Keefe. This doctor applies this work to all segments of the human body involved in collisions and other impact-producing events. Okay, there we go. That's going to be interesting as well. And then, one more. Daniel M. Wolf, PhD, is a senior forensic scientist specializing in the fields of lighting, human factors, and accident reconstruction. Dr. Wolf investigates and reconstructs passenger vehicle, commercial vehicle, pedestrian, and bicycle collisions. He is accredited as a traffic accident reconstructionist by Accreditation Commission for Traffic Accident Reconstruction, in addition to specializing in collisions involving nighttime recondition and conspulsity issues. I butchered that one. He also performs lighting analysis in slip, trip, fall incidents and matters involving perception and object detection. His analysis techniques include headlight mapping of vehicles, luminance and illuminance, mapping of artificial lighting, scene luminance, visibility modeling, and low illumination and nighttime photography. So yeah, going to have some experts that are going to be on hand to give us some more deets about what the hell's going on. And the most important part, one of the most important parts of this entire thing, did Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe with her automobile as she was backing out to leave after he had already left, getting ready to enter the Alberts residence? I don't know. listen in here a little bit of this.
Often running for jury selection in what could be a lengthy process. For starters, you know, the judge was asking everyone in the gallery, these potential jurors, about 100
That's
folks,
how it felt.
whether or not they knew anything about the case, and almost every single person raised their number. And now they're being asked individual questions in judges' chambers right now. We can't bring you that. But during that moment, Karen Reed looked out at the gallery at these potential jurors. She looked over at the media and the box that we're in.
That's a great band name, bro.
And she smiled at us. This morning, as she was making her way into the courthouse, this again, her trial 2 years in the making, I asked her how she's holding up, how she's doing today, how she's feeling. Take a listen.
How are we feeling today, Karen?
Good, Matt. Good.
As we know, this is a case that has divided this town outside of Boston. Karen Reed accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend back in 2022. The state alleges the Commonwealth by hitting him with her car and leaving him to die in the snow. Reed claims that O'Keefe was beat inside another police officer's home that they were at and attacked by a dog. Here are the charges that she's facing. Let's put those on your screen. Second-degree murder, leaving the scene after a collision causing death, and motor vehicle manslaughter. The Commonwealth plans to take 4 weeks for this trial for their presentation of evidence, and the defense, they're saying that they're going to call a lot of witnesses as well, including experts that we heard about today, and they're expecting 2 weeks. Ted, Julia?
Matt, what about the third-party defense? I know we watched that play out in the pretrial motion, the judge reserved ruling. Where are we at on that?
Ted, that was a big ruling this morning, a decision by this judge, and it could have big impact on the defense's case.
Actually, I made a post about that, man. I saw that, and hold on. I want to go to my actual tweet. Yeah. Excuse me. The judge is unsure if they are going to let the third-party culprit defense argument move forward. Reed's defense team is barred from mentioning it in opening statements. They have to first present evidence to support the involvement of a third party and then ask the court to permit it. If Karen Reed's defense team is unable to present this evidence, how much could it affect the entire trial? It's the question that I was basically asking out there. That was interesting, man.
Chief,
but the defense team of Karen Reed so far has been awesome. Like, I don't have any ill will towards them whatsoever. They've been pretty awesome, quite frankly.
She ruled this morning that that third party pointing the finger at another person for the death of John O'Keefe, it can't come in opening statements. As you mentioned, it was something that was argued over on Friday during that motions hearing. Take a listen.
And what I'm asking for in this motion is for the defendant, through her counsel, to actually provide any admissible or relevant evidence that pertains to third-party culprit, which to this point they have not done.
It is not our job to solve this case for the prosecution. It's our
point.
contention.
I mean,
they had the opportunity to do that.
What are they going to do? Come in here and say it was, one of these people? That's basically what they're saying anyways.
It is not our job to name a specific
one of the folks that was inside of the Albert's residence.
We do not have to prove that Brian Albert or Colin Albert or Brian Higgins or some combination of them intended to kill John O'Keefe.
And you heard right there, the defense plans to point the finger at least 3 other culprits, saying that Karen Reed had nothing to do with the death of John O'Keefe, her boyfriend at the time. But the state, obviously saying that she is the reason why he is dead. The judge making that decision that their defense, they can't point the finger at others during their opening statements. So that was really big news coming out of this courtroom today.
That is huge news and really limits what the defense theory is going to be in front of this jury. Now, Matt, there have been so much going on inside of the courtroom, but outside of the courthouse has had its own drama. What's the mood today, especially after that new rule that the judge had to put in place for those supporters of Karen Reed?
Right, and a lot of these supporters, Julia, we've seen dozens of people, up to a couple hundred people in front of the courthouse here in this a small community outside of Boston. just for the motions hearings, a lot of people carrying signs almost like protesting, doing chants, cheers for Karen Reed as she walks up the steps of the courthouse and into the courtroom. Well, there's that 200-foot rule now where they have to be across the street from the courthouse. They can't be in front of the courthouse steps. We were talking to a couple of the people that are the supporters of Karen Reed this morning. Here's what one woman told us.
Has to be exonerated. This is insane that this woman is being brought to trial. The evidence is insane.
This lady's been on Twitter. Everybody. This is insane. Oh my God, it's so insane. Did I tell you how insane it is?
For her innocence.
She's innocent. It's insane. Let me tell you why. Because it's insane. That's why.
Opening statements or some of the evidence. What are you looking forward to?
I would like to see cross-examination of some unsavories on the
stand.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm also looking forward to the defense cross-examining some of the people who we believe were the actual murderers of John O'Keefe and the people responsible for covering up. I think Karen has a great team, and part of the reason I'm out here today, I don't think that she's had a fair shake. I know it's not a trial yet, but the hearings and evidence, so I'm excited to see her have her day.
Back out here live in Dedham, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston, you can see that the crowd a little lesser right now, but notice that a lot of people are wearing pink. That's by design. They're wearing pink of support of Karen Reed. And that's because they can't be within 200 feet of the courthouse wearing any buttons or signs or holding any of those picket signs that we've seen time and time again. So they've ditched those signs and they're just wearing a color for Karen.
Obviously, the judge doesn't want the jury pool to be overly tainted. Yeah.
Right.
Although if you live in that town, I think you've been exposed.
How could you? There's 24,000 people in this town today. Everyone that they've asked about it, basically, they've gotten 4 people now, right? They've gotten 4 jurors, I believe. Mandy sent me some 2 folks to follow on Twitter who were going over this. Let me get back to them. Hold on. Rich Vetstein. And I believe I was reading through here, just kind of looking through his stuff. And he was saying basically that, their 4 jurors were seated today. So there's still a long way to go. And just considering that there's so much, again, 24,000 people live in this area. They're on the streets all the time. This is viral. I will say this, I learned this with the Koberger stuff in Idaho. I don't live there, but I'd imagine if you live in Moscow, Idaho, you've probably heard of this fucking case. It's almost impossible not to, I don't know how you could not move this outside of Canton, honestly. I think that would probably be the best move. And then you have juror intimidation, right? You have people that are definitely going to be trying to intimidate jurors. I don't care what you fucking say. There's going to be people that are so gung-ho, so on top of this team shit, whether they're for one side or the other, they will absolutely be trying to intimidate others. It's fucked up, man. We live in a really weird world where everything's gone straight to hell, quite frankly, when it comes to any kind of decorum in a situation like this. And I'm just being real right now, guys. Looking through the chat here real quick. Damien, thanks for coming in here. Appreciate it. He thinks Karen will be rich when this is all over. She very well may be, especially if she doesn't go to prison, because the movies and the books is going to be crazy. That just is what it is. Let's see, YouTube is still acting terrible. Hopefully there's a lot of people that came through here, and hopefully it will reflect that in the numbers. We'll see. Here we go. New name coming through here. Welcome in here. I probably won't be able to say this. Bishmack. Caitlin Albert left before John O'Keefe got there. Colin Albert was never there. We know now those 2 lies are lies. Sure, Mandy. Find me someone who hasn't been annoyed with their partner when the partner wants to keep partying and you want to go home. Yeah. I'm just looking through here real quick. Dude, yeah, Ricky coming through here. What's going on, Dan? YouTube, I broke it. For whatever reason, I was trying to do one of these fucking shows and it all went to hell. But I'll tell you what did happen while we were hanging out here tonight. Shiraz came through this motherfucker and gifted out 5 memberships. Amy Brooks grabbed one. Who else? Old Snap Sharon grabbed one. Joni Deputy grabbed one. A to Z grabbed one. And Ned Smith in the hell. Get in here, guys. Get in here. Welcome to the party, pal.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Letting y'all know right now, again, who's going to be doing the damn thing with this case. All right. There's going to be a lot of people covering this. Every YouTuber is going to be covering this case. I'm going to tell you who you need to be watching. It's going to be The Shaming of Jay. Okay. Shannon, his wife. Mindful Crime Couture. And then you're going to be following Defense Diaries. Okay. Bob and Ali Mata are going to be covering this as well. I think Jay and Bob are probably going to be covering this during the day with the dual streams. And then at night, you never know who you may be getting with Shannon and Ali. And then hopefully, as it goes on a Tuesday or Thursday night, most likely I can cover a little bit of it as well. And hell, if I get super into it, you never know what I might be coming on here and doing. So we'll fucking see. I just know that I've been intrigued and into this since basically I found out about it since Bob Mata told us about it live on this on Publicly Buzzed Live before we ever had Turtle Boy on here. Of course, I believe that's who he originally found it out. All of this from was Turtle Boy. But at the end of the day, I'm going to stick by that. You need to come at this from not the team perspective, not on either side. And at the end of the day, if we had a private conversation, I would probably at the end of it be like, well, you seem like you're on this team. I'm not on a team, but probably more on a side, right? Like, I personally have an opinion. I see what's happening. But if you're going to be coming at this from a journalist perspective, if you want to be a journalist covering this, your opinions are fine. Giving those opinions on the back end's fine. But out the gate, you have to come at this unbiased. You have to. If you don't do that, then you're doing a disservice to your audience. You're doing a disservice to the case. And it's just sad. So I don't know. I'm just a dude on the internet talking out of his ass. Again, I love you guys. Thank y'all so much. It's been right here. She's showing up some good Twitter folks that you want to be following right now, guys. Both of these guys I ended up following after she told me to. And if you go down through here looking, you can see exactly why. Real quick, I'll just go over here. Pop this one up here. Jury selection done for the day. I'm told they seated for jurors. It's from Ted Daniel. They have been powering through the jury selection without breaks since 10:30 a.m. This is from this morning. So you're going to be getting a basically hourly update every few hours. Seriously, appreciate those who watch the coverage on X, yada, yada. One thing I would like to do, actually, I see everybody doing the live streams on X now. I'm going to see if I can start doing a little bit of that. I don't really do the dual into Kick and YouTube, but it would be cool to be able to do it onto X because I feel like I have a little bit more traction on X than here on YouTube a lot of times, so we could see what happens. I don't know. But I need to do that. I have never actually done a full... Well, I did once. I think I did the Kick in YouTube, but I need to get back on Restream. I guess that's how they do it. I've never streamed on YouTube, so... on Twitter, on X, whatever we're calling it. So we'll see. But again, folks, you're in the right spot. That's for damn sure. You're with the right crew, and that is not only the Buzz Nation, but the J Buzz Nation, the J Bo Nation, and everyone that is hanging and banging with the Defense Diaries. Yes, Mooney, right here. Evidence. We want to see it. We want to see it. Oh my God, here we go. Carrie, living near this case is crazy. High insanity. Families divided. Wow, Carrie's living close to this. Interesting. It should be televised, I would hope. I would imagine it will be. And that's true too, right there, Jeffrey. Mainstream media always has a narrative, and I will 100% agree with that, quite frankly. Honestly, so I think that independent media is the way. It's the future, but you have to be careful with who you choose as your independent mediums because there's a lot of shitty people out there, man. I love you, Viv, coming through here. All I've been seeing is Mr. Darcy stuff and seeing you work on your pool and your patio, man. It's fucking awesome, dude. Like, that's so cool to watch. And seeing Mr. Darcy help you with breaking all, what was he breaking? Like little twigs off the trees? Like, what a smart doggo, man. Like, Mr. Darcy is so cool. Like, that video, I'm lost with Viv here, but that video you posted last week of Mr. Darcy when you first got him, dude, and, like, getting him to become, like, come out of the shell and whatever life he had before. Oh, my God, that was one of the coolest things I've ever watched in my fucking life, and I'm not even exaggerating, Viv. That was so cool. It was so cool. CH coming through. X live streams never work with me. I never watch them, but I see everyone doing it, and I see the numbers are pretty fucking decent. Like, Bob and Jay have been on there with some good numbers, so I'm interested in it to see what happens. Right there. See, now this is bullshit, dude. Carrie, Gabarelli. I'm probably butchering that. Gabarelli. It's an Italian, right? My family lives in the next town over, Stockton. We cannot even discuss the case. I think that's bullshit. There's a lot of stuff like this in all genres and all of life, whether it's politics, whether it's whatever genre, true crime. Just take true crime, the niche that we're actually in here. So many of these cases that come down the pike, people can't have an open, logical discussion, man. And anybody that's been here with me for the long haul knows that that's the one thing that I've always been about. I'm about everyone that gets their voice heard, and everyone gets free speech is the most important thing that we do have. And I don't want to come off with some kind of crazy loon Trump supporter, but I want people to know that is so fucking important for people in this country, and it's trying to be stamped out all the time, whether that's by people that don't want you to have a voice, or it's all over the place, guys. So never stop having your voice be heard. Don't let other folks deter that. And there's a lot of bullshit out there, but I've been about that my whole life. Maybe to my own. Hold on here. Hold on. Looking through the chat here. Gail came through here. What's going on, Gail? Getting lost in my own shit here. Preach, Steve. I've been so let down by folks that I thought were decent humans. It happens, man. It happens a lot. There's a video out there, Tiff, of Mr. Darcy hanging out with Viv. Like, Viv getting him from the get-go, from them finding him, and he was sad. He was shy. She had him in like a crate in her office. They had like a bird that was like trying to be like, or Mr. Darcy's mate, basically. It's so fucking cool. He was so scared of everything. That's the truth. That's the truth. It's the truth, man. Absolutely, Pam. Absolutely, man. Don't stop believing. Oh, shit. Church bells are coming. Welcome to Murder Church on a Tuesday night. You never know, baby. What? Did I say protesters shouldn't protest? I don't remember saying that one. Let me go back and look at my tweets. You calling me out right now live, Amber? Did I say some shit about some protesters? Oh, do you mean the one? Do you mean the fuck faces that are blocking all the traffic? No. If you're actually blocking traffic and the possibility of people being able to get an ambulance to them or the police to them, yes, you should be drug out of the fucking road if that's what you're talking about. Fuck those pieces of shit. That's bullshit. Yo, Bob, what's going through, brother? Dude, we've had a good one here tonight, dude. We've had a damn good one. We've had a real good one. Carrie, I come with receipts and facts, and my stepsister refuses to talk about this case and just says, you'll see. I want to scream, what the fuck will I see? That is so freaking annoying. Like, when people, that's half of this case. Like, people are just like, you're going to see. I saw today, there was somebody that posted on, somebody I follow and somebody I love, and to see they posted something underneath one of my tweets. I was going pretty wild today, just posting some stuff about this case. And somebody came underneath there and was basically like, I'm going to fave this tweet and come back and laugh in your face. What the fuck are we doing here, dude? Like, that's an unhinged piece of shit is what that is, my friend. So, I don't know. Yep. When you get the bells, you know it's coming through, baby. Well, I think you can in that case, because protesting and blocking people's ability to get to and from on an interstate, much less a bridge like that, is fucked up. That's complete bullshit, Amber. I am not on those protesters' sides whatsoever. I think that is bullshit. No matter what you're protesting, I don't care what you're protesting. If that is what you're doing, you are a piece of shit. That is and I do disagree with that. Yeah, that is actually trying to harm other people that could be in a dire situation because you're trying to put your mostly politics and bullshit out there as actually what you're trying to do. You don't actually give a shit, most likely, I would imagine. And that's not to you personally, Amber. That's just to the fuck faces that like to block shit up. Catgrow, letting people know we got a side bob happen, baby. Dude, YouTube tonight has been insane. It's been crazy. It's been wild. Did my numbers, I have 10. Oh, there it is. We're back, baby. We got a few more in here. Hell yeah. All right, I've been going crazy here tonight. Thanks everyone again for coming through here. And like I said before, you're going to get the best. You're going to get the best deets, the best information from the crew right here, whether that's Bob Mata and Ali Mata, Defense Diaries, or whether that's Jay and Shannon with the Shaming of Jay or Mindful Crime Couture. We're going to be getting this shit booming, all right? You're going to have the daytime dual stream with Bob and Jay once this shit cranks up, and then again, Ali and Shannon is going to be coming through on the back end letting people know. So about what happened in the day. They're going to be doing some extra coverage. So, and then keep an eye out here because you never know what's going to be coming down the pike. One thing we're going to shift here. We're going to shift the gears, ladies and gentlemen, because what we're going to be getting Friday night, all right? We still have another stream coming. Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Dan's going to be on here. We're going to have a good time. Friday night. What is that? One day before the sacred holiday. I just had one guest confirm that he's good. I've got one more possibility. I'm just going to leave that out there. There's one more possibility. We could have a full house Friday night for Feral Friday when we start out on YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be shooting the shit a little bit before we go over in about 20 to 30 minutes later to Kick, all right, to watch Half Baked. Got Jay for sure confirmed. I'm going to name the other person that's confirmed Thursday, and hopefully I'll have another confirmation by then, whether it's nay or whether they're good or not. So we'll see. But Friday's going to be dope. This weekend's going to be dope. I think I had mentioned on Sunday, I believe, that I'm going to basically do a members only stream this week. So I haven't decided fully, but I think that may be Saturday. I may do an actual there we go, Missy Mayhem. I may do an actual 420 stream on Saturday, which will be members only. Okay. Now, I don't know what's going to be happening. I don't know which way we're going to go, but yes, we are going to be doing something anyways. I think I'm going to do that. I might as well just say that, honestly. Look through the chat here just for a second. Real quick. Again, love you guys. Thank y'all so much for hanging. I know YouTube hopefully didn't fuck y'all up too much tonight. Jay coming through. Thank you, brother. Bob coming through. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, love you guys, man. What a great show, honestly. If you do a 420 stream, I'll get high for the first time. Whoa! Oh, shit! Ladies and gentlemen, we just confirmed a 420 stream Saturday, members only, because Holly Berry's going to be coming through and doing the damn thing, okay? And we're excited. Yes! I'm excited, baby! Let's do it! Ringing the bell. Let's go! It's going to be fun. It's going to be good stuff. It's going to be good stuff. Thanks, Mandy. I appreciate it. Thank you for helping me out on the back end. Seriously, man. Looking through here just real quick. It's been a wild one, man. Hopefully the replay will be up for anybody that came through and missed a little bit of the beginning. Again, I'm trying to do it as unbiased as possible, guys. Like everything that I showed you here tonight, the key players, the initial story on John O'Keefe. And I don't think that there's been enough talk about John O'Keefe, quite frankly. It's all been shrouded by the major trial that's going on, and I get it. I understand it's huge, but there's a lot more happening here than just that. So I don't know. Like I said, keep your eyes right here because we're going to be keeping you guys informed. And yeah, in the morning, I'm guessing they're going to be back. Bob and Jay are going to be doing another dual stream. Chad Daybell trial will be continuing. They've been rocking and rolling that during the day. And yeah, keep your eyes on everything here, man. I'm going to be on top of Karen Reed as well. Not as close as them. They're going to be fucking living in that shit. But I'm going to do what I can on the night side to try to get some more stuff in there. So, Mooney, I may skip this trial, to be honest. I get that also. A lot of people are feeling a little bit like it's too much, right? A lot of families and friends are going to be torn apart. You know, that's one thing that I'm not going to allow or let happen here. Just like Amber just said, we can disagree and still be fucking good here, okay? We don't have to fight. We don't have to bicker. We can have our own opinions and still be lovely people at the end of the fucking day. And that's why I love you people, honestly. That's why I love this community. That's why everyone's been so fucking cool and so awesome. That's the way it should be here in true crime. I'm just rambling and I'm going off here a little bit, but that's how I feel, man. I love you guys. Thank you all so much. I'm going to get off here. Have a great night. Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time again. Friday night is going to be crazy. You do not want to miss Friday. Friday's going to be awesome. I got 2 guests with Jay. One is going to be mentioned Thursday and a possible 3rd guest. We're not sure yet, but keep your eyes peeled. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you guys so fucking much, and I do too, Holly. Let's get out of here. Have a great night. Have a great tomorrow. Love you.